Hello students, this is Anjana. Welcomes you all in the Ved model family. Today I am going to tell you about your third unit, that is trust and care. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. This is the quotation of William Shakespeare. Love and care are two words that are usually associated with each other, and everyone is familiar with what they mean. How does trust fit into this equation? In this unit, you will learn about these terms. When a person trusts on somebody, then how can he or she be survive even that? Now let's study about the first section of this unit, section 1 and chapter 5 of this term, and the chapter is the doctor's word. The Doctor's Word is a short story from the collection of Malgudi Days by R.K. Narayan. Published in 1943, in The Doctor's Word, R.K. Narayan tells the story how a doctor's word saved the life of a patient. That's very reason his opinion was valued. He was not a mere doctor expressing an opinion, but a judge pronouncing a verdict. Verdict here, a judgment, even his opinion. Now, firstly, I am telling you the summary of this story for making it completely understand. The Doctor's Word, R.K. Narayan, tells the story how a doctor's word saved the life of a patient. Dr. Raman was an experienced doctor. He spoke plainly and always spoke the truth. So his pronunciate words were held in high esteem. Gopal was the dearest friend of Dr. Raman. They had been friends from 40 years. They spent their time in dining, seeing a picture and talking. In dining means in dinner time. Their friendship was not at all affected by changing of time. One day, Dr. Raman was informed that Gopal was ill. He went to Gopal's house. Gopal was lying on the bed as if asleep. Dr. Raman examined him and gave necessary treatment. He was worried about his friend's life and he had no hope of saving his life. The patient asked the doctor about his condition. He wanted to sign the will and settle the property before he dies. Dr. Raman decided to tell a lie. For the first time in life, he told his patient a lie. He informed Gopal that he would live for a long time. Gopal was relieved to hear this information. The next morning, the doctor was surprised to find Gopal alive with steady pulse. Steady pulse here. How the patient survived would be a puzzle to him all his life. Now, come to your lesson. Dr. Raman is known for his truthfulness. He never tells his patients who are critically ill soothing lies. Means Dr. Raman is known his truthfulness. Gopal, his very close friend, is at a death's door. He asks the doctor if he is going to live. What does the doctor tell him? Let's read the chapter and find out. People came to him when the patient was on his last legs. Last legs, going to die very soon. Dr. Raman often burst out, "Why couldn't you have come a day earlier?" Often burst out means he was even going to cry. The reason was obvious. Visiting fee 25 rupees and more than the people liked to shirk, avoid that fees. The fact that the time had come to call in Dr. Raman. It means that if Dr. Raman is called, then the patient is going to die. For them, there was something ominous. They think that if Dr. Raman is called, then there something bad is going to happen in the future. Ominous is not good there. As a result, when the big man came on the scene, it was always a quick decision one way or another. When doctor came to that place, then a decision be there. There was no scope or time for any kind of wavering or whitewashing. Wavering means not any hesitation, mean not able to take any decision, unable to take. Whitewashing, attempting to hide unpleasant facts about something or somebody. Long years of practice of this kind had bred in the doctor a certain curt truthfulness. Means from so many years he is in practice, he is in this profession, that he has become rude because very few words are used. For that very reason his opinion was valued. That's why his words were valued. He was not a mere doctor expressing an opinion, but a judge pronouncing a verdict. He was a person whose judgment is judged there. The patient's life hung on his words. Patient life depends on his words. This never unduly worried Dr. Raman. He never believed that agreeable words ever saved lives. He even never believed that if he tell lies, then the life will be saved. He did not think that it was any of his business to provide unnecessary hope, when as a matter of course, he thinks that if he had to tell the reality to the patient, nature would tell them the truth in a few hours. He feels that otherwise nature would tell them, because death will come to them. However, when he glimpsed the faintest sign of hope, he rolled up his sleeve and stepped into the arena. However, when he finds that there is any sign of hope, then he rolled up his sleeves, means the sleeves of his shirt, and stepped into the arena. Stepped into the arena means got ready to save the patient life if there is some sign of hope. It might be hours or days, but he never withdrew till he wrested the prize from Yama's hand. Means at times of a days or any hours will be left, but he never take away, he never left out from that situation when the God's hand be there. Means if he feels that the patient life be saved, then he do his best. 2 days standing over a bed, the doctor felt that he himself needed someone to tell him something lies. Now the day when he feels that someone tells lies to him. He mopped his brow with his kerchief and sat down in the chair beside the bed. He cleaned his brow even. And with his handkerchief, on the bed lay his dearest friend in the world, Gopal, because his friend is lying on the bed. They had known each other for 40 years now, starting with their kindergarten days. They could not, of course, meet as much as they wanted, each being wrapped in his family and profession. Occasionally, on a Sunday, Gopal would walk into the consulting room and wait patiently in a corner till the doctor was free. They even meet on every Sunday, and Gopal wait for his friend, and then they would dine together. Means they take dinner together, see a picture and talk of each other's life and activities. It was a classic friendship, a typical example of great friendship, standing over decades mean from 10 years, untouched by changing times, circumstances and activities. Their friendship never changed. In his busy round of work, Dr. Raman had not noticed that Gopal had not called in for over 3 months now. He was busy in his schedule. He even never noticed that his friend had not called him. He just remembered it when he saw Gopal's son sitting on a bench in the consulting hall one crowded morning. He remembered that thing when he saw his friend's son sitting there in his clinic. Dr. Raman could not talk to him for over an hour. He even was not able to talk to him because he was so much busy. When he got up and was about to pass on to the operation room, he called up the young man and asked, because on that day he had to operate a patient. Then he called up that boy and asked, "What brings you here, sir?" The youth was nervous and shy Mother sent me here. The boy was nervous. He said that his mother sent him there. What can I do for you? Father is ill. Then the doctor said, what can he do for him? Then he is saying that his father is ill. It was an operation day and he was not free till there in the afternoon. And the doctor was not free on that day. He rushed off straight from the clinic to his friend's house in Lowley Extension. Still, he leave his clinic to his friend's house. He departed in a hurry. Gopal lay in bed as if in sleep. He was laying on his bed as if he was sleeping. The doctor stood over him and asked Gopal's wife, how long has he been in bed? From how many days he is in bed? A month and a half, doctor. Who is attending to him? A doctor in the next street. He comes down and once in 3 days and gives him medicine. What is his name? Now they both are talking with one another. He had never heard of him. Someone I don't know, but I wish he had had the goodness to tell me about it. Why couldn't you have sent me word earlier? We thought you would be busy and did not wish to trouble you unnecessarily. Now the doctor saying that why you couldn't call me earlier. They were apologetic and miserable, but they were showing their sorry for causing a problem. There were hardly any time to be lost. He took off his coat and opened his bag. And he took out an injection tube and the needle sizzled over the stove. Sizzled hot there. The sick man's wife whimpered, made a low crying noise in a corner and Acid even tried to ask questions. Please don't ask questions, snapped the doctor. The doctor said in anger that don't ask questions. He looked at the children who were watching the sterilizer. Sterilizer here, a device for heating substance above their boiling point, and said send them all away somewhere except the eldest. Then he told her that send these children to anywhere else. He shot in the truck, sat back in his chair and gazed at the patient's face for over an hour. Then he stared a long fixed look at the patient. The patient still remained motionless. He was still not moving. The doctor's face gleamed with perspiration. Perspiration here, sweat. And his eyelids drooped with fatigue. He was tired. Tiredness. The sick man's wife stood silently. She asked timidly, shyly, Doctor, shall I make some coffee for you? No, he replied, although he felt famished, very hungry. Having missed his midday meal, he got up and said, I will be back in a few minutes. Don't disturb him on any account. He picked up his bag and went to his car. In a quarter of an hour, he was back. Followed by an assistant and a nurse, the doctor told the lady of the house, I have to perform an operation. Why? She asked faintly. I will tell you all that soon. Will you leave your son here to help us and go over to the next house and stay there till I call you? The lady felt giddy. Giddy means liable to falling there, and sank down to the floor. She was even sank down, sit as not able to stand and unable to bear the strain. The nurse attended to her and led her out. At about 8 in the evening, the patient opened his eyes and stirred slightly in the bed. Moved slightly. The assistant was overjoyed. The assistant was happy. He exclaimed enthusiastically with a lot of excitement, Sir, he will pull through. Pull through means get better after a serious illness. The doctor looked at him coldly and whispered, but the doctor looked at him coldly, not enthusiastically. I would give anything to see him throughout, but the heart, the pulse has improved, sir. Well, replied the doctor, don't trust it. It is only a false flash up. Now the doctor saying sometimes misleading signs that the patient had recovered. Very common in these cases. He ruminated, thought deeply for a while and added, if the pulse will keep up till late in the morning, it will go on for the next 40 years. But I doubt very much if we shall see anything of it all after tonight. He sent away the assistants and sat beside the patient. At about 11, the patient opened his eyes and smiled at his friend. He showed a slight improvement. He was able to take in a little food. A great feeling of relief and joy went through the household. They swarmed around the doctor, means they moved around and poured out their gratitude, a feeling of thankfulness. He sat in his seat beside the bed, gazing sternly at the patient's face, staring sternly, fixed look, hardly showing any signs of hearing what they were saying to him. The sick man's wife asked, "Is he now out of danger?" Without turning his head, the doctor said, "Give glucose and brandy every 40 minutes. A couple of spoons will do." The lady went away to the kitchen. She felt restless. She felt she must know the truth, whatever it was. Why was the great man so evasive? Not willing to give clear answer to questions. The suspense was unbearable. Perhaps he could not speak so near the patient's bed. She beckoned to him from the kitchen doorway, beckoned, waved, signaled with hands. The doctor rose and went over. Rose means stand up and went over. She asked, "What about him now? How is he?" The doctor bit his lips and replied, looking at the floor, "Don't get excited. Unless you must know about it, don't ask now." Her eyes opened wide in terror. She clasped her hands together and implored. She clasped her hand means she tightly covered her hands and implored, begged. "Tell me the truth." The doctor replied, "I would rather not talk to you now." He turned round and went back to his chair. A terrible wailing, loud crying was there at the house, shot through the still house. The patient stirred. Patient moved slightly and looked about in bewilderment, confusion. The doctor got up again, went over to the kitchen door, drew it in securely and shut off the wailing. Means he given instruction for not crying. When the doctor resumed his seat, the patient asked in the faintest whisper possible, "Is that someone crying?" The doctor advised, "Don't exert yourself. Make a big physical effort." He advised him, "Don't make any physical effort. You must not talk." He felt the pulse. It was already agitated by the exertion. It was already troubled because he has taken physical effort. The patient asked, Am I going means am I going to dead? Going to die? Don't hide it from me." The doctor made a deprecating air, expressing disapproval noise, and sat back in his chair. He had never faced a situation like this in his whole life. It was not in his nature to whitewash. Whitewash means to speak lie, to tell a lie. People attached great value to his word. Because of that, he stole a look at the other. He stole a look means he was even stealing his eyes from his friend. The patient motioned a finger to draw him nearer and whispered, "I must know how long I am going to last. I must sign the will." Will here, a legal document that says that what is to happen to somebody's money and property after they die. It is all ready. Ask my wife for the dispatch box. You must sign as a witness. "Oh," the doctor exclaimed, "you are exerting yourself too much. You must be quieter." He felt idiotic to be repeating it. How fine it would be. He reflected here, thought carefully about something. To drop the whole business and run away somewhere without answering anybody's questions. He even doesn't want to give answer. The patient clutched the doctor's wrist with his weak fingers and said, "Ramu, it is my good fortune that you are here. At this moment, I can trust your word. I can't leave my property unsettled. That will mean endless misery for my wife and children. You know all about Subha and his gang. Let me sign before it is too late. Tell me." Now he is telling him that he knows all about all the persons. If he will die, then his family will suffer after that. Yes, presently, replied the doctor. He walked off to his car, sat in the back seat and reflected. He looked at his watch. Midnight, if the will was to be signed, it must be done within the next 2 hours or never. Because he was feeling that his life is for 2 hours. He could not be responsible for a mess there. Mess there means a situation that is full of problems. He knew too well the family affairs about those wolves, Subaya and his gang. But what could he do? If he asked him to sign the will, it would virtually mean a death sentence and destroy the thousandth part of a chance that the patient had of survival. The state of continuing to live. If he will say there that the sign the will, it means he is going to die. Then the chance of survival had to be gone. He got down from the car and went in. He resumed his seat in the chair. The patient was staring at him appealingly. The doctor said to himself, if my word can save his life, he shall not die. The will be damned. The will be damned means he is not going to worry about the will. He called, Gopal, listen. This was the first time he was going to do a piece of acting before a patient. Stimulate a feeling. Pretend that you have a particular feeling and conceal his judgment. Hide his judgment. He stooped over the patient, means bent over the patient, and said with deliberate emphasis, deliberate, careful thought in advance, that he had thought in advance. Don't worry about the will now. You are going to live. Your heart is absolutely sound, means you are absolutely fine. A new glow flushed the patient's face. First caused to spread over his face, means a feeling of happiness spread across his face. As he heard it, he asked in a tone of relief, do you say so? If it comes from your lips, it must be true. The doctor said, quite right. You are improving every second. Sleep in peace. You must not exert yourself on any account. You must sleep very soundly. I will see you in the morning. The patient looked at him gratefully for a moment and then closed his eyes. The doctor picked up his bag and went out, shutting the door softly behind him. On his way home, he stopped for a moment at his hospital, called out to his assistant and said, that lowly existential case, you may expect the collapse. Collapse here, medical condition when the person becomes very ill, means any time, any critical situation be there. Any second now, go there with an injection and give it in case the struggle is too hard at the end. Hurry up, go there. Next morning, he was back at Lowly Extension at 10. From his car, he made a dash for the sick bed. Run very quickly. The patient was awake and looked very well. The assistant reported satisfactory pulse. The doctor put his tube at his heart, listened for a while, and told the sick man's wife, don't look so unhappy. Lady, your husband will live to be 90. When they were going back to the hospital, the assistant sitting beside him in the car asked, is he going to live, sir? I will bet on it. Now his assistant asked to him, I am certain that he will live. He will live to be 90. He has turned the corner. Now he has turned. How he has survived his attack will be a puzzle to me all my life. Now even the doctor was also puzzled. It was a puzzle. It was a riddle for him, even in his life, that the person is going to be survived, replied the doctor. So in this way, we feel that in the lesson that the trust, if we imbibe in any person, then the will of life can also come back. Dear students, watch this video carefully for making this lesson clear. Thank you and have a nice day.